Hey, it's Lux, and this is True Crime with Lux. So today I'm going to be talking about Louise Porton, a woman who did the unimaginable. Louise was born August 23rd, 1996 in Rugby, United Kingdom. She had a very loving family, but she was a bit of an outsider. She was violent, which made family members keep a distance when they were around her. Her mother left the family when Louise was 11. This left her father to raise the 3 kids on his own. Her mother leaving really affected Louise, and she refused to talk or see her mother after she had left. When Louise was a teenager, her behavior only worsened, and she became obsessed with money. This got to a point where Louise started stealing things when she would visit family members. When confronted with what she did, she would get angry and defensive, saying she'd never visit again if she was going to be accused of stealing. At 16, Louise left home and began drinking and using drugs. She soon became addicted to sex, which led her to meeting men that were not the greatest. Her family was worried about her and the road that she was going down. She would find men that were willing to give her money or expensive gifts. She would brag on social media about how much money she was making from having sex with rich men. Her family began to get scared that something might happen to her. When they told her that her grandmother was sick, Louise refused to visit her, even when she was told that she was dying. Louise still didn't come to say goodbye. After her grandmother died, she didn't even attend the funeral, and this really upset her family, so much so that they actually cut all contact with her. When she was 18, she had her first daughter, Lexi Draper. 2 years later, she had her second daughter, Scarlett Vaughn. August of 2016, Louise was living in council housing as a single mom with 2 kids. She refused to let the girls' father, Chris, have any contact with them, even telling him that he wasn't their father. But this didn't stop Chris from trying to be involved in the kids' lives. He fought for custody and visitation rights. Meanwhile, Louise was doing sex work and even would have strange men come to her place so she could have sex with them, while the girls would be in the room due to them having such a small home. Now, anyone can see how dangerous this is to bring strange men around your children. I don't understand why she thought it would be okay to bring them there. Why she couldn't meet them somewhere else, get a hotel, a car, anywhere else. Just to make sure that her kids and herself were safe. It's not like she really knew these men or who they really were, what they were capable of. Anything could have happened. She soon moved into a new place in August of 2016. While here, her landlady, Leanne, actually ended up caring for the girls while Louise was working, which meant that they were with Leanne most of the time. Louise began neglecting her girls and completely stopped caring for them. Leanne said Louise was never around. She said she would watch them at least 4 times a week, and if she wasn't able to, Louise would just find somebody else to watch them, seeming like she didn't want them. Leanne also said that if Louise did have the girls, she would just yell at them to shut up and get angry if they cried, and would even drag them around by their arms and legs. She looked at her children as if they were an inconvenience to her, preventing her from living her life. Louise then moved again in November of 2017 to be closer to her sister. Her sister was the only family member that Louise stayed in contact with. Louise would now leave the girls with her while she went out to clubs or to meet up with clients. I mean, she was still meeting men at her house, and when her sister told her that she needed to prioritize her daughters and think about their safety, Louise avoided talking about it and would just change the subject. At the beginning of 2018, her daughter Lexi was going to the hospital constantly due to being sick, but doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. One day, Lexi was having trouble breathing, and paramedics were called to the house. They believed she had a chest infection, so she was given antibiotics. All while they were trying to help Lexi, Louise was in the bathroom, taking nude photos of herself to send to men. When doctors tried explaining Lexi's condition, it just seemed like Louise didn't care about what they had to say. A few days later, Louise called again for paramedics to come to the house because Lexi wasn't breathing. When they arrived, they discovered that Lexi had to have been unable to breathe for a while before Louise actually called for help. Lexi was blue, so they rushed her to the hospital. While riding in the ambulance with her daughter, Louise seemed not to care if Lexi would be okay because she was sitting there texting a guy about how much she charged for photos. At the hospital, Lexi was scared and crying, and Louise just sat there on her phone, offering no comfort to her daughter. The doctor actually had to tell Louise to go comfort Lexi, which she did reluctantly. Lexi spent 4 days in the hospital before being released with the diagnosis of acute respiratory infection. Once back at home, Louise made some disturbing Google searches. Some were things like, can you actually die if blocked nose and forcibly closed mouth with tape? For how long after drowning can someone be resuscitated? How long does it take for a dead body to go cold up to the shoulders? On January 14th, Louise came home with the girls after spending time with her sister. That night, Louise called for help, saying Lexi wasn't breathing again. When they got there, Lexi was cold and pale, and rigor mortis had already started to set. Lexi had died long before Louise called. Louise didn't show any emotions you would expect, and the next day she acted like nothing had happened. She went back to talking to people online, even casually mentioning to some of the men that her daughter died. When her sister confronted her about her actions after losing Lexi, Louise defended herself, saying she was just trying to be strong for Scarlett. Her mom called her evil and said that social services should have done more for the girls, and that Lexi could still be alive if they took actions. February 1st, Louise took Scarlett with her to a hotel. She was texting with a man explaining that Scarlett wasn't feeling well. Later that night, she is seen on surveillance getting gas with Scarlett in the car. She then called the non-emergency line to report Scarlett was unwell. When the operator asked if this was an emergency, Louise said no. The operator then asked her to check Scarlett's vitals, and Louise said that she wasn't breathing, which to me sounds like that would be an emergency. She waited in a parking lot for paramedics, and when they got there, they could tell Scarlett was already dead, and it looked like she had passed a while ago. Her autopsy showed that she had been strangled. Louise was taken to a hospital to be monitored by a nurse, who said that Louise wasn't grieving and didn't seem concerned that she had just lost her daughter. The nurse told police, who started investigating. The police thought it was very suspicious that 2 young girls would die within weeks of each other. Looking at both girls' autopsies, it was noted that both had died from having their noses and mouths covered, preventing them from breathing. On March 20th, 2018, Louise was arrested for 2 counts of first-degree murder. She tried to maintain her innocence. During the trial, there were enough evidence to prove she had killed them on purpose. The court was told of how the girls died by Louise blocking their airways, just so she could be free of the responsibility of motherhood, so she could live her life. The jury found her guilty, and she was given life in prison with the possibility for parole after 32 years. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and follow the podcast and share with your true crime friends. I hope you have a great day and you stay safe, and I'll be talking to you next week.